Hey there, everybody. Franklin Taggart here, and it is time for a virtual coffee break. Late on a Sunday, and my coffee's long gone. But I still wanted to get on and just say hello and share a few things that are on my mind tonight. I had a wonderful conversation with someone yesterday at the anniversary party that was happening at Grace Yoga, and that conversation has had me thinking pretty much ever since. And there have been times in my life when it was really difficult to know my purpose or my mission for various reasons. There were some times in my life when I had just kind of reached a dead end with whatever it was that I was doing, and I knew that I needed a change, but I had no idea where to go from where I was. And so I was just kind of at a point of, surrender and wait is what it felt like. And in the conversation yesterday, one of the things that I suggested is that if you don't know exactly what you're supposed to be doing yet or right now, maybe one of the things that you can do is you can identify the things that you already know that you don't want to do, or that you know that you shouldn't be doing, right? And start with that list first and see if that kind of shakes loose the cobwebs around what you really want and the direction that you really intended to go. And it reminded me of when I had graduated from high school, and I had thought that I wasn't going to go to college. And about, first part of August of that summer after I graduated, my friends were starting to get ready to go to college. And I had no idea. I had no plan. I thought I might just, do, manual labor or go to work for the phone company or do construction or something like that. And I would have probably been okay doing that for a little while. But ultimately, what happened was that I just reached a point where I knew that I needed to go to school. I didn't know why, and I didn't know how, but I started to think about the things that I didn't want to do. And working, doing hard manual labor wasn't at the top of my list. I already knew that I had a pretty low temperament for that kind of work, and I wasn't particularly good at it. I knew a few things, but I just wasn't, it wasn't an ingrown skill yet. But I knew the one thing that I did know was that I loved music, and I had no idea what that meant. I had no idea what a career in music would look like. But I remember the day that I decided to go up to my local community college and meet with the music department chairman there, Dr. Kinzer. He was a wonderful man. But he steered me, and he just said, listen, he said, you've got talent. Your audition was great. No problem there. You can play the guitar. And we've got all kinds of opportunities for you to play here. And so we'll give you the most scholarship that we can give you. And then, luckily, the Pell Grants were still really available and easy to get back then. So for the first 3 years of college, I didn't have to pay anything out of my pocket to go to school. And it was a time for me to really explore what my options were. And I found out a lot of things that I didn't really want to do. Like I found out, I really don't want to be a school music teacher. And I took those classes, and I really figured, I wasn't really enjoying them, and I wasn't particularly skilled in that area. And I really wasn't all that interested in moving in that direction. But I did find that I loved performing. I loved playing in ensembles on the guitar. That was my joy. That was the thing that I looked forward to. I also knew that I wasn't going to be a soloist. I wasn't good enough to be a performing soloist on the guitar. There were three or four other players there that were better than I was at that. And I didn't have the talent or the discipline to go as far as they were going to go. But I knew that I was a strong ensemble player, and I knew that I was a really strong recording musician. I knew that I was a very strong sight reader, and I started to just understand that my particular skill set made me suited for certain things and not for others. So if you're in a place right now where you don't know what to do, there are a couple of things that I'm going to ask you to consider. One of them is to start with a list of things that you already know that you don't want to do. And make that list, very clear. I do not want to sell used cars. I do not want to wash dishes at a restaurant. I do not want to do this, and I do not want to do that. Because even in the act of deciding what you don't want to do, a part of your mind starts to kind of break free of the cobwebs. That is that part of your mind that is aware of your purpose, that is aware of what you do love to do and what you want to do. And it starts to put together ideas as to what you can do next. Now, another time in my life I've talked about is the time when I had moved to Nashville, thinking that was the last time in my life that I was actually going to move anywhere, and that I was going to spend the rest of my time being a songwriter and maybe playing a few sessions here and there. I wasn't planning on being a performing musician. That wasn't what I had wanted to do. But when I got down there, I found that, there were thousands of other players that were better than I was. They were getting the gigs. And there were thousands of other songwriters down there that were already pretty well connected, and they were getting their songs cut, and I was starting at the very beginning. I didn't have the time and the patience to see that through. And I've talked about, I was willing to install carpet at a Motel 6 just to keep the rent paid. It was the hardest time of my life, probably one of the lowest points of my life. But one of the things that happened during that time was that I became willing to consider other options that I hadn't been willing to consider before. And when the opportunity to move to Washington, D.C. came through, and I went there, and there were opportunities there for me to work, and there were opportunities there for me to play music, and there were opportunities there for me to write songs with people and to be a guitar player for people. I just knew that I had to go. So the second thing that I would say is that if you are in a place where you don't know right now what it is that you want to do next, maybe it is a good time for you to go to school. Maybe it's a good time for you to just, take a bunch of courses, figure out if there's anything there that really, stirs you up and gets you, excited and focused and moving in a direction. Going to school is not a bad idea when you don't know what's next. And then finally, the other thing that I would encourage you to consider as an option, if you don't know where you're going from here, is to be honest with maybe one or two people that are close to you who don't have a dependent relationship on you, but who have a sense of, who you are and what's possible, and ask them if they have any insights or any kind of, relevant guidance that they might share with you. Like I said, when I went up to the college and I met with Tom Kinzer, I had just met the man, But he was straight with me, and he just said, he told me, he said, you're a talented player, and we have room for you here, and I'm willing to pay as much as I can pay for you to be a student at our school, and we'll find a way to pay for the rest. But him just saying that was an affirmation that that was a direction that was open for me. That was a door that was open. And I walked right through it. And that was the beginning of, of several other steps in the same direction. And there have been times along the way when I didn't know what was next. And again, surrender, wait, educate yourself, identify the things that you know that you don't want to do, and start there. And if you're in a pinch, find a trustworthy advisor, someone that you know that will objectively tell you the truth about what they see and about what's possible for you. So those are my thoughts for the day, and if you're in that kind of a place in your life, I'd love to invite you to set up a call with me. I offer a free first-time call called the Best Next Step Call, and it's specifically that. It is a coaching session. It's not any kind of a discovery session or anything like that. We go right into coaching in the first hour of talking with each other. But the whole idea there is for you to identify what is your best next step. The easiest way to set that up is to go to bit.ly/bestnextstepcall. All one word, no spaces. Cool? Thank you so much for your time and your attention on this late Sunday night. I hope you have a good week ahead, and I will be back again tomorrow with yet another coffee break. So long.